Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to NFT Live on the Web3 network here in Web3 with some really cool folks that we're about to talk to. Nice to see you guys in on today's episode. It is Thursday, November 2nd. Really good, strong start to the month, not only because we just had a MEGAPIXE reveal, but we're seeing some really cool things out of Hong Kong with ApeFest. A lot of good things happening in the NFT industry. A pentabox here today, I think, if my math is correct. Let's go around and do this thing. Let's start with Huda, and let's just make our way around this.
Yo, GMs.
Nice to see. Hey, we only have Huda for another 5 to 10 minutes. Tell the folks why, though, because we need to get them hyped up on what's happening.
Yeah, this is cool. Yeah, so shooting a podcast over at Crypto Slam today, but with some killer guests. We've got Sorare, Mythical Games, Dapper Labs, and Tyler from Lucky Trader. So, and the CTO, I think, from the Wax blockchain. So a big show. I can't wait to tape this one.
So literally everybody is hopping on that one.
Everyone.
Mark, fantastic time to have you on again. I feel like we've had you on every single cycle of this Ordinals wave, man. It's wild. And of course, the Elon and Joe Rogan stuff I'm excited to get into. But Mark, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Happy to be, I think, third or fourth time now. Yeah, love coming here and speaking to you guys. So looking forward to chatting some good stuff.
Giphy, Gifted, Mr. Live Mint.
Don't call me that, Giphy. Nah, bro. There was one girl that actually called me that for a while in the space. I won't dox her. I won't say her name, but it always made me feel kind of funny. But you saying it, Q, I don't know if I can stand for that. Anyway, we're here. I got a couple paper Buddha pieces. I'm excited to talk about Ordinals. I just found my revealed MEGAPIXEs. So, I'm very interested to get your take on everything that Elon's been saying about Ordinals and what's going on with the MEGAPIXEs. And you're going to have to break down the artwork for me on these two and let me know exactly what's going on with this project. I mean, for instance, let's see this one. How is this a Grail? Is this a Grail, Mark?
I don't know. It depends on your interpretation, right?
That's what I need to know.
If you want it to be a Grail, it can be, right? It can be whatever you want it to be.
But I'm excited to get into all that.
Is probably the Grail, I should say. All right, Biggie Poppins, let's get you in here, and then I'm going to quickly move into some news that Huda has seen around the industry in the last 24 hours, because he does have to roll here very soon. But Biggie, how you doing, my man?
Fantastic, all things considered, Q. But man, what a way to start off the week. Like we've been doing great. So I think we're going to end on a strong point today with Mark visiting and everything going on with Ordinals. Got some good stuff.
We've been doing great because Biggie Poppins has been laying it down here for about like the last 6-7 months. So people are finally taking notice of the Web3 network, and it feels great. All right, hit him with the don't speckle NFA here, Gifted, and then we can get off and running.
Yeah, you never speckle. Just don't, whatever you do. There's two things that we need you to remember on this show. One, don't speckle. Two, lick the like. Those are the two things you need to remember. Most important things. And yes, when we say don't speckle, what do we mean? We mean don't take any of this as financial advice. We're not financial advisors. Do your own research. All this is public domain, found on the interwebs. And this is just the opinions of the fun people hanging out here with you. We're just up here chilling, talking about cool shit on the internet. And we're not giving you any sort of financial advice ever. So that's it. Don't speckle. And lick the like.
I love that, by the way. Don't speckle.
You know what happens to speculators? They get their ass handed to them. I can stare at my mutant punk all day long because I collected it. I'm not paying attention to all the things that happen on a day-to-day.
Don't.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark.
I have to get a mutant punk.
What's that?
Did he say a mutant punk? Does he think he has a mutant punk?
I think he does.
It's adorable.
Does he think he still knows what he's talking about?
All right. We did the Mark Cuban FUD yesterday, guys. All right, Huda, you have to leave here in like literally 60 seconds. Yeah. So let's give us anything. Give us a talking point here. What did you see over the last 24 hours, man?
So like not market stuff. I think the biggest thing that came yesterday was probably the new OpenSea collectors pages. They look really good. They let collections or projects highlight team members, highlight NFTs, but also they can show off some of their side projects or some of their guess some other NFT collections in their ecosystem. So just a buffed version of the OpenSea collectors page. It looks really, really nice.
Guys,
Yeah,
thoughts
look at that
on
there.
this OpenSea update here?
It's slick, isn't it?
It is, but I'm angry at OpenSea, so fuck them.
Yeah, well, look, we try and be fair and balanced as much as we can. Obviously, there's a lot of things that we don't love about the way that OpenSea's been operating, but the one thing that they've been strong at from the get-go and why they got such a lead, besides just being early, was they have one of the best user interfaces and user experiences. I mean, they have a great marketplace as far as the UX and the design of it goes. And that's why a lot of people see it as the Amazon. They have built an effective marketplace, and it is, it's clean. It's a good design. Look, they got the fucking birds in there. How can you be mad at that, Biggie?
Yeah, the recommended collections piece as well. I think that's an interesting move. We haven't seen that on OpenSea yet, so I'll give them their flowers here where it's due. All right, Huda, if you got to jump now, man, I appreciate you stopping by. Again, fantastic. This is your first week here on NFT Live, so it's been a great experience, and hopefully,
How's it been for you,
week, man?
Yeah,
Dude,
how's it been for you?
I love it. Like I had seen your show prior. It's different being on it for some reason. I like your guys' vibe. I really do. I really like your show, and it's the pace in particular that I love. You guys are running a tight ship here. It's good shit.
That's why we say our vibe, our tribe.
I didn't catch on to that's what OVOT meant in the chat. Now I know.
Yeah, we love having you here, but we need to induct you into it at some point. We'll have to have like a ceremony.
The tattoo ceremony, yeah. So we all have our vibe, our tribe tattooed on our hip, right above our pelvis. So at some point,
I'm gonna be the first, aren't I?
He's like, guys, check it out. All right, Huda.
Good luck, guys.
See
Have
you
a great
next week,
show.
dude. Good luck on the interview, bro.
Thank you, sir.
Right on.
All right, strong start to the episode here. Look, I'm all over the place. I did break my 72-hour fast. I got to 72 hours, and I feel a little bit more energetic, but I'm still kind of a little bit in like wonky phase. So I'm still trying to share out the episode, get as many folks in here. If y'all can do that as well, much appreciated.
My man Q's been running shows all week with literally zero food, zero caloric intake. So if that's not worth licking the like for, I'm just saying, give your man some love, lick the like, because literally, that's more sustenance than he's gotten all week. So great job, Q, on everything you've been doing, holding it down despite no food this week.
All right, I appreciate you, brother. Here's the episode that we are going to drop down for y'all today. We've got a couple different things happening. Obviously, the Bitcoin ordinals and on-chain assets is going to be a discussion. We brought Mark in here to break it down, break his thoughts down. He's obviously been there from the beginning. He's not like catching a wave. He literally was an innovator when you come to adopting this new tech. So we're going to have him talk about that, as well as the MEGAPIXE reveal and what his team is doing over there. We're all holders, by the way. But meme token launch is happening at 4 a.m. Eastern time, I believe, tomorrow. So we have this large launch that we're going to cover. One of the biggest token launches that we've seen here since probably ApeCoin. There's a couple others that maybe have launched, but if it goes well, it's a major liquidity event. If it goes poorly and we see like another Azuki situation, that would suck. Wouldn't put us behind by any means. I think we've got some momentum, but it would definitely be better if this goes well. ApeFest Hong Kong. I don't want to talk about it because we're having major FOMO and a lot more news breaking. I'm sure that these guys are covering. So, yeah, guys, appreciate it. If you share out this episode, I will drop the link there in the chat. But Mark, our special guest here today, let's touch on this Joe Rogan piece, man. Let's touch on the Elon discussion of on-chain assets. And your thoughts on kind of just, I think Bitcoin Ordinal is probably being talked about in mainstream media for the first time.
Yeah, so I guess some context for those who don't know, there was that really great piece from the Joe Rogan show with Elon Musk, where Elon Musk is, I guess, dunking on NFTs, saying that they're basically just hyperlinks, right? So they're a certificate on top of some hyperlink to an image. And it was in like a broader crypto piece. And immediately on the back of this, the whole, like, every single person in Ordinals and Bitcoin were like, oh, Ordinals is different. This is why Ordinals is better than every other NFT on every chain. And everyone just on top of it and almost made it a marketing piece for Ordinals specifically. So yeah, we done our thing with that, like we know best, right? Which is, hey, let's have a cool tech experiment and see what we can do with this. We'd been kind of planning this from the beginning in many ways. I think when Ordinals first came out, we saw it as like a storage layer, not as like the NFT layer, right? There's no smart contracts. You can't do smart contract things with Ordinals, but you can put media on there forever, right? So it's like, hey, why don't we just put our media on here and still use Ethereum or Solana or Stacks or whatever? And we missed the boat on some of like the really early stuff, because actually the opposite happened, right? Where Ordinals just went parabolic overnight, seemingly. So we were like mega early, but there were people earlier than us. So I think when we first heard of Ordinals, there was like 60 inscriptions or something. So yeah, it was maybe like 50 or something, and we were going to inscribe a whole bunch of our NFTs. It would have been in like the top 2,500. But then it was like, it's going to cost $10,000, and no one was using it at the time, and it was super early. And it's just like one of those things. Yes, it was a mistake, but I saw it as a data layer. I was like, it doesn't matter if, you know, no one cares if you're the 1 millionth object stored in S3 versus the first one, right? It's just as long as the data's there. So this job basically a hit on ApeFest for the most part, and there's been a lot of misinformation spreading around. I think people don't understand how ApeFest is working, and you know, they think that one day they're going to wake up and all their NFTs will have disappeared. So again, as is typical of this space, right? Someone will say something and everyone runs with it in totally the wrong direction. Because to point out, right, you know, Biggie's sitting there with Moonbird on, they're on chain fully, right? Like Moonbirds are fully on chain, as are Squiggles, right? Art blocks, they're fully on chain. And there's a whole bunch of collections on Ethereum. You know, some of the early ones, CryptoPunks, they're the daddies have been on chain, right? And then you've got things like Avastars, Cryptodes. There's a
cyber brokers.
Plethora of, yeah, it's not as if there's no on-chain projects on Ethereum. So it was a bit of a tongue-in-cheek quote from Elon Musk.
It was, and it also ignores the fact that like a lot of projects can still be very valuable and interesting, whether or not at this point, you know, their art is fully on chain or not, right? It just misses so much of the point. But what I loved the most about it was that it is getting into a slightly more nuanced conversation on a mainstream platform with two of the biggest personalities in the entire world, instead of just like the very basic, boring, low IQ takes that we've seen from most of these types of people, like NFTs are all a scam, it's all dumb, right click save. You know, at least they started to talk about the values and the nuance of like on-chain, off-chain art, which I think that's a big win. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to what is the value proposition of an NFT, right? I think there was that. I've tweeted that piece from Thread Guy where he interviewed Beeple some time ago, and I think I paraphrased in saying that Beeple articulated the value proposition of NFTs more succinctly than almost anyone else I've heard, where he said that as a digital artist, who trying to break through as a digital artist was really difficult, and the missing piece for him was there was no meaningful way to collect his work, like that collectability of essentially his JPEGs didn't exist before NFTs. And the comment from Elon, I think, misses out to that point, right? For example, if Bored Apes, the metadata changed, I think the token would probably still have value. Yeah, there'd be no Bored Ape attached to it, but to think that they would be completely worthless, I think is a bit disingenuous. And again, you've got everyone jumping on it saying, oh, you need your NFTs on Ordinals forever, otherwise they're worthless. But then the same people the next day will tell you that it's not all about the art. So it's like, you know, what is it? Does the art matter or doesn't it matter? Like, take your pick, right? You can't have both. And I think, you know, as with all things in life, there's a middle ground that makes sense. So what we decided to do was say, hey, let's just put our media, our data, the JPEGs on Bitcoin. They're there forever. And let's use Ethereum because the smart contracts, we can easily do a mint. People can trade on OpenSea. They can make use of smart contracts, but also have the media Ordinals forever. So in our mind, it's like, that's the best of both worlds. And I'm yet to hear anyone actually countenance that with, this is why it's not a good idea. Everyone's saying, and I think we're the first to do this, right? So that we revealed yesterday. And also the way that this works is all of the traits were inscribed. So 202 traits. We inscribed those traits individually. And then we inscribed some JavaScript that reads some prior inscribed like DNA sequence to say, okay, given the ID of an NFT, we know what the DNA is of it. Now build that NFT, right? So the way that you would normally make a generative art piece is you would just layer JPEGs. So each JPEG, we give like a little DNA sequence, and we essentially render it completely on Bitcoin based on the DNA that we inscribed as well, right? So your megapixel here, 456, is mapped on Bitcoin. It'll have like a DNA reference there. And this HTML builder on Ordinals will pull all of that data in, pull all of the JPEGs, and build it in real time. So the way that this works is the metadata points to an actual inscription on Bitcoin that is building the NFTs.
All right, so here's the alpha, guys. This mint, I believe, is still open. Like I'm almost positive the mint is still open. You guys cut down the supply. You guys cut down the supply, I believe, by 6,000. I need to check my my info.
Yeah,
here.
it's going to be 4,000 supply now.
4,000 supply. You guys are launching at seemingly the most perfect timing that I could have ever imagined, which was off the backs of this on-chain discussion happening on the biggest podcast of all time. You have the Ethereum community kind of saying, "Hey, I kind of like these ordinals and like the narrative around it, but maybe I'm not on Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I want to be on Ethereum." Well, congratulations! You know, you have these beautiful unicorns that exist on Ethereum that relate to Bitcoin ordinals.
And it's a tech demo for us, right? So a lot of people, you know, every time we have a paid mint, it's the same thing. It's a cash grab. And it's like, well, actually, this is just a tech demo. What I think a lot fail to understand that inherently, if we put a $0 mint price on everything, what happens is the tokens just sell for $1 on the marketplace afterwards. So nobody wins really. So if you have like that really low public barrier to entry, then the secondary trading of it in this market specifically would just mimic that as well. And also, it would have just been botted, right? So we put a really low mint price. I think it's like $14, $13 or something. Totally public. The goal is to just have fun and to get back to some of the stuff that we were doing in the olden days, which is let's just vibe and do really cool things and push the boundaries of the tech and see what sticks. And this is an iteration of us doing this, right? Which is let's just have some fun. And you know, the vibes last night were incredible. People are just having fun with this and running with it. It's $14, so nobody's like overly financially invested and worrying about what's going to happen to the price of it. Because
I have my entire net worth in this project.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like, hey, I'm going to have a bit of fun with this. I'll mint a few tokens. If something happens and this runs, and people say that's a one of one right there as well. If people run with this and say this is the way to now do NFTs, then I don't know, maybe it goes up, maybe it doesn't, but we'll have some fun in the meantime anyway, right? And that's what it's all about, just making sure that the community can have fun in this place.
GIF was fading the unicorns. He's fading the art.
I want to understand. So I was going to ask literally, what is with the gay unicorns? And I say gay, like I don't mean it derogatorily or bad at all. Like these are very
very happy unicorns.
Very rainbow, very happy rainbow unicorns.
They're very happy rainbow unicorns. What's up with that?
Well, it's just a lighthearted. We wanted to do. I mean, have you seen the website? The website is spectacular. I said that the website gives me real. This is either going to make me a millionaire or drain my entire net worth vibes. It just has that. It just has that vibe to it, right? It's like I'm either being drained right now, or like this is the best opportunity I've ever seen.
Dude, is he eating? Is he like? What is he doing to the?
He's pushing the unicorn.
He's pushing it.
He's pushing. No, he's not doing. No, he's not eating anything. Okay. Your mind.
Right. It looks like
too much time in the valley, my friend.
It looks like human unicorn centipede a little bit. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's just us. This is just us. This is just us having fun, right? And there's more to it. So next week we're unveiling an application. That means that if you're totally done with Ethereum, we're making use of this ordinal protocol. It's not an ordinal protocol. I guess it is in many ways of teleburning your NFT, right? So that's the process of burning your NFT. To a predefined address as given per the Ordinals protocol to validate that you've kind of burnt your NFT in the right way and it relates to this ordinal. So there was the famous use case of someone burning a Bored Ape back in like peak ordinal hype, which I mean I think it was quite stupid. I think Yuga Labs came out and said, well, actually you just like waived all your this token now.
Yeah,
because they don't recognize that protocol, whereas what we're saying is, we will, right? So we'll enable a teleburn collection through our relationship with Gamma, and we'll really, again, just totally playing with wacky tech that you have to think about it for 20 minutes before you think, is this nonsense or is this value? Like, who knows? We're having fun, right? And because one of the interesting things to highlight, we've been doing a whole bunch of like boring, I call it boring payment stuff in the space, right? and we put our payment solution on an Ordinals mint that's gone live, which isn't ours. And we availed like Ethereum, USDC, USDT, and ApeCoin as a payment method for an Ordinal. And the Ordinals project that we're minting at the time, like 50% of their payments were made not in Bitcoin. So half of all their payments for their Ordinal collection was made with Ethereum-based tokens and coins. So I think like the consumers, users, whatever you want to call them, collectors, investors, are saying right now that I actually just want choice at point of minting now these days. Let me pay with my Phantom wallet and Solana. Let me pay with my Hero Stacks wallet. Whatever I want to pay with, just let me do it. That everyone is now chain agnostic, I think, in Web3.
Okay, the idea that assets can live on both chains, I think, is up for debate, right? Like we've seen youth say, hey, like we had trouble building our community without fragmenting it across Polygon, across Solana, and now we want to bring the entire community onto Ethereum. I'm interested in this decision I'm going to have to make. Likely, I'll just hold it on ETH. Like, there's not going to be a time frame where I have to, like, I'm not going to be able to teleburn at some point. Correct? Like, I'll be able to teleburn.
Correct.
The future.
I mean, I think that depends on. I always find that odd from Utes because it's not like your community is glued to the blockchain. I mean, like, how hard is it to migrate from Solana to Polygon? I'm pretty sure you just download one wallet, right? It takes, 5 seconds? And it's not as if they kicked everyone out and onboarded a completely new cultural community. So I don't think it's as big of a deal. And it depends on the makeup of the project. Megapont, the project that launched MEGAPIXE, started on Stacks. And like nobody was using it at the time, so everyone came from somewhere else anyway.
Mark, what's interesting? Like you bring up a really good point. Like Frank made it inherently like negative to stay on the chain. They instituted that bitch tax that was like 33% if you want to sell or something like that. So you're incentivized not to want to be there. And
maybe that was technical, right? And they wanted everything in one place for whatever reason. But in our mind, I mean, we have collections on about 12 chains. I think it's like 3, but we'll play with the cool tech wherever it is, and the community seems to love that. And in fact, when we do the really boring stuff like we have done, earlier this year, barring Ordinals, they're like, I don't really feel this. I want to do something cool and new and innovative that makes me think and makes me get excited about the space again. Click button, get JPEG. That's boring. That's gone. We've seen that now. People want games. They want interactive mints. They want cool things. They want bridges. They want experiences. They want more these days from an NFT token.
Yeah, I'm just over here looking at it and trying to understand what is going on with the metadata. These are wild. Have
you opened up the metadata? Yeah, the base 64 encoded JSON.
You don't want to think too much about it, GIF. You just got to jump in.
So that image right there on the left.
I got at least 3 of them. So yeah. Tell us how this works. Because right now, if you look at the traits,
so on the left, on the above, that's not an image. That's HTML rendering the NFT based on the query param passed through it for the IT. So that isn't an image.
Yeah.
And a lot of people there are like, what are you talking about? That's an image. No, it's not. That's HTML being rendered from Bitcoin.
Yeah. Well, the net effect is it creates an image for you, but yeah, it's not just like a single file.
And that'll be there forever, right? That's not going anywhere. There's no IPFS. Yeah. There's no like S3. Like in 100 years, when our grandchildren and great grandchildren are playing Roblox version 20, they're going to say, this MEGAPIXE is on Bitcoin forever, Grandpa. Thank you for giving me this in your will. And that's
1 out of 4,000 unicorns.
This is
1 out of
4,000
pixel rainbow unicorns.
This right here is literally my legacy. This is all I'm going to have to leave to my grandkids. That's a fact. So
that mustache is literally fire, my friend. I mean, come on.
Is that a mustache? It to be fun, right? That is. I think it's a mustache. We wanted it to be fun, and we could have gone like really serious, and we're positioning ourselves right now as well as like the anti-influencer community. We're seeing this a lot as well. We get no love from the typical influencers, and we've said this time and time again on this show. And we kind of love that now. We're leaning heavily into it, it's really starting to annoy some of them, because some of the community yesterday on some of like the bigger ordinal influencer podcasts were like getting up on the stage and mentioning it and spamming them to the point where they're like, oh fucking hell, just come up. Like it's at the point where you just can't ignore it anymore.
Okay, but I still feel, Mark, like I didn't get a clear answer on what's up with the unicorns. Like, I get it's fun. I get it. I'm here for it. Like, absolutely. Dude, my project. I'm trying to just make it fun and cool art. Like, I'm here for the fun. But where does the unicorn come from? What's the origin story?
You're thinking too hard.
Oh, I love that origin story.
The origin story. So Weasley, who's the artist on Megapont, we both have like young families. So I've got 3 children. He's got 2. And I think his daughter, like it must have been like week 1 Megapont back in the Ape Day, was drawing like unicorns on his iPad in pixel art. And there's some art, like early art shared of his daughter, like doing something, and it made its way into like one of the 101 pieces somehow. So we've kind of wanted to do this, but this is one of those collections that just doesn't, like, we couldn't put a 0.1 ETH mint price on this, 10K, hype it up and try and make everyone be really serious about it, right? It just wouldn't work because people would be like, what are you guys smoking? Like, this is just a meme. It's almost like the equivalent of a shitcoin mint, right? In many ways, which is, it's genuinely not trying to take itself too seriously. No one is becoming a millionaire from this. The revenue from mint is in the, low tens of thousands, and we don't even care if it doesn't sell out, for God's sake. We just want to have fun, right? So it's let's use this art that we want to put out in a place where we can put it out and no one's actually going to care. The perfect opportunity.
Yeah, I haven't been in the Discord.
I mean, look at them. They're absolutely stunning.
They are. And
they're gorgeous, man.
There's a lot of BAYC
Weasley outdid himself.
He's done this in a week as well. He made the whole collection.
That's insane, man.
So 200 traits and 8 in a week. He's an absolute monster. He's reading all of the Kongs.
Do you know how many?
Yeah, he is.
As well.
Do you know how many of the 1-of-1s are actually going to get minted versus burned, or are you making sure somehow that they're all in the 4,000?
No, so none are getting burned now. So yeah, they're all in the 4,000. There's 4 left to mint. And this is why it's interesting. We know the IDs, so we shared the IDs of where they are. So you've got community member script, right? That it's going to post a notification when it gets being mintable.
Oh my god!
So I'm really excited for this, for when we get close to it.
Yeah, people are going to just to try to get to that, right?
Wait, can we get those numbers without writing a script? I need the numbers. I got a notepad.
Yeah, the numbers. We shared the numbers in Discord. They're in one of the announcements.
This is actually alpha here.
I'm going there now.
Yeah, get those numbers because that's actually alpha. Let's share
and just wait for the 1-of-1. Yeah, I mean, it's alpha, but it's also like alpha that is public and everyone has the same alpha, right? Which is, I don't know who. Someone really clever will probably end up sniping it with a bot, right? And everyone else will just be left in the dust, but who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I feel torn on this because there are early BAYC vibes of, and I'm being a little bit facetious there. Obviously, like Megapont's not going to be Yuga Labs or anything like that, but the mint is open, like nobody's talking about it, and they're seemingly like the community seems to be like really interested in it, and it seems to have that feeling, and like
it's weird, right? There. Because again, like this is the only mint where we've had this kind of behavior, right? Which is it hasn't sold out, it's not dumping, it's revealed, it's not dumping, it's got sales above floor that people want, and like a 1-of-1 sold for 0.5 ETH. And I'm just like, none of it makes any sense whatsoever. But what it says, I think, more than anything else is, gas is quite high as well. That is to point out. It's a great comment there. Gas is quite high for a mint that's $14. You could probably see yourself paying gas of, $10? A lot of people might just say, I'll wait for gas to chill out before I do this. But beyond that, it just shows people who are minting just want to mint it, right? They're not minting 400 of the things. They're just minting like 1 or 2. And they're just saying, hey, I'm just going to put these in my wallet. Like there's not much more to it. And then maybe that's how, you end up with those collections that end up doing a run or something, because we haven't forced it, right? There was no 3-month marketing campaign. There was no white lists. We didn't even give allow lists to the community. We just put it out there. So it was one of those, it's a tech demo, right? But the most interesting thing, and it is quite exciting technically, and anyone can look at the metadata to see what's going on there. The art is on Bitcoin, and it's like coming down from Bitcoin into Ethereum. Which is pretty cool, and it's the first collection to do that. And we're going to put out a really cool technical piece in the coming weeks that details what we did to do this, because it is quite difficult and a little tricky. But I do think there's some interesting use case there for collections who might want to do the same. And again, what I expect is somebody to take what we've done, take it to the next level, because we put something out there as quickly quickly as we could that showed that it could be done. And there'll be people, even smarter than ourselves who like actually will take what they've done and we'll turn it up a notch and do something really special. So that'll be the projects to look for as well moving forward, I think.
All right,
and that's the part that excites me the most, right, Mark? Like, I don't want to take away from the fun vibes that we're all having here, right? Like, just getting GIF all confused about the unicorns and the vibes in the Discord, and like you said, there's something to that I think like you just kind of have to soak up and enjoy it in the moment, right? But for me, when I read that, what you guys were doing with the teleburn and actually having the metadata in Bitcoin, that for me was the part where I immediately was like, these could be an ETHEREUM. I don't care. I'm minting it because of that. And also because I'm a fan of Weasley's art, right? But like there's definitely something beneath the surface that y'all should be paying attention to, because like you said, I think you guys just kind of like opened the door. Now it's up to everybody to come up with different ways of using and applying this tech to their own stuff, right? Like, but I'm really excited about it. It's awesome. And this is all like Apollo enabled, correct?
Yeah, so this was just Megapont this time. Yeah, so Megapont, we were like, I think I replied to Trevor Owen, who's quite big in the Ordinals scene. I said, we got bored of not innovating, right? And we were up one night and I was chatting to Weezy on Telegram. I was like, hey, I'm a little bit bored. We've got a whole bunch of stuff in progress. Like, we've got this big mega hub that we're building, which is like consolidating collections into one place and making it better as an experience for collectors. And I said, it's all great. It's not here yet. It's a bit boring. I was like, let's just start doing really cool shit that we know we can do and turn around at a pace that nobody else can, quite frankly. So yeah, we're back into doing some really cool, crazy stuff and seeing what sticks.
We need to get you bored more often then. No, I think this is really, really, really exciting. It's cool.
It is fucking cool. And like, why isn't anyone paying attention to this shit is beyond me. And I think
that's
where I'm torn.
We're
like
early,
that's
bro.
where I'm like,
Early.
If people actually knew about this shit, I think it would be sold out like 100%.
If we had a whitelist and we gave it to certain people, it would probably fly, right? It's just a public mint that's $14, right? It's people look at it and like, well, I don't want to get involved. You got to, if you make money from the space, and I'm not talking down to all influencers, but there are, there's a big group of people who make money in the space selling you something, and on a 4,000 collection, that's $14, sorry. You look at it and you think there's not actually a whole bunch of money to be made on the mint there. And what that does is it just turns off a lot of participants and people that would help push those things, because they can't make the money, and there's no way that they can mint like 1,000 in some or even like 100 in a discrete way, because it's too much of the supply, and it's just really difficult to, I guess, make a whole bunch of money on this mint, and that turns off a whole bunch of people in the space. It's as simple as that.
All right, I want any of my other co-hosts takes up here as well. That's a great explanation. I think you hit the nail on the head on why some of these influencers are not promoting it, and I agree that's like the shady kind of back end of the space. Broken Pluto saying, can we win a Tesla when these things move?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If there's no financial incentive, if their bags aren't tied to it, like that's what influencers are doing in this space. They're just pumping their own bags, right? So the fact that it's just a public mint without any of that weird backdoor dealing shit going, like, yeah, it's not meant for that. But I think that, again, that does add more integrity to it, and the right people will hopefully keep finding it, like us. And yeah, you know what, Q, if we're the only people out there really talking about it, good for us, man. That's just better. And I think Biggie was.
It also shows people like don't read, right? Like, because it's very clearly stated. Like, I think like you guys did an excellent job of explaining what's going on here, right? Like the innovative portion of this. And I don't know. I think you couldn't get more Eli 5 than the way it's laid out in the.
Yeah, we tried to be memey, and this art's on Bitcoin, right? Yeah, this art's on Bitcoin. It's not on Ethereum, and with the public mints, I mean, we've seen this in the past, right? You either get like these really hype public mints, or they seemingly come out of nowhere after they've minted out 6 months down the line, and everyone's like, what the fuck? How did I miss that?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's most public mints, because it's very hard for somebody to take like ownership and to push it to their network on those. And this might be one of those instances where it pops up in 6 months, right? And people are like, oh shit, these guys, you know, were the first people to put their art on Bitcoin and avail it on a different chain. And you know, maybe we start seeing other projects, and what might happen, a big Solana project might do it, and then it takes off, right? And then people look back, and we all know that everyone circle jerks on historical significance in this space, like nothing else.
You need to get people to like tweet this. Like getting Elon to tweet one of these unicorns out is like, you're not getting that.
I was gonna say having an Elon unicorn.
Yeah, but he's.
We should have an Elon 1 of 1. That was a really
in the collection. That would have been amazing.
Never mind. But the problem is it's on Bitcoin, so it's immutable, so we can't change it as well, right? So again, we can't change it. It's there forever. The traits were, and it was cool seeing everything up last night as well. On that, there was a block where like 200 traits were in there. And someone actually sent me a message and was like, are you shitting on the blockchain again? Because they could just see like these pieces of Pixie just on this Bitcoin block. Was it? Yeah.
All right. I think we're gonna round out this conversation here on the MEGAPIXEs. Give us one last specific detail related to this teleburn. Like, what do we need to be prepared for? That's the next kind of step in the process, correct?
Yeah, so that's interesting. So that's, you know, making use of an Ordinals protocol, which says I'm going to burn my Ethereum NFT to an address that's defined per Ordinals protocol, which creates this immutable link forever between the two. So, you know, you can say that this ordinal relates specifically to this NFT. So it's like making a relationship between the two across the chains. And the process of doing that requires you to create an inscription and then burn your ETH NFT to an address from that inscription. I've already lost you guys. I've already lost everyone else. So we're making it one-click button. Click this big shiny button. Does it all for you. There's a fee to pay to do this because it's inscribing something. And again, this is where some of our payments tech's coming in. And we're going to let you pay with Pixie, which is our shitcoin that has no value and we just use for memes. So we're like, hey, just use this shitcoin to create your teleburn NFT. So it's just as doing like really crazy tech things that I think a lot of people will look at, but putting like a memey take on them and being like, hey, don't take yourself too seriously, guys. Look, we just put some shiny rainbows and unicorns on this stuff and it fucking bangs.
What's the?
I'm so amped.
what is the value long term of this So you're not actually inscribing the artwork itself onto a SAT, but you're inscribing a relationship.
So you inscribe the artwork. So
He's dying.
So a simple use case, right? So I own a Bored Ape, right, and I want to teleburn this. Biggie, do you want to go, Biggie? Yeah. So I want to inscribe. I want to inscribe a Bored Ape. I want to teleburn a Bored Ape. I inscribe a picture of my Bored Ape. Right, that's there on Bitcoin. Anyone can see this. Cool. But I've just inscribed I've copy pasted it, right? So it's just copy paste.
Yeah.
What you can do now is you can get a teleburn address for every inscription, and then I can send my original Bored Ape to that teleburn address related to my inscription. So I can view the teleburn address from my inscription and say, okay, is my Bored Ape in this address? Yes, it is. So there's a tie between the two. So you're destroying it on one chain, and it's not exclusive to Ethereum. You could do this theoretically on any chain. You're destroying it on one chain and saying, actually, I just want to be on Bitcoin now.
What happens to the people that don't teleburn, right? Like, what's the difference?
I mean, someone said to us, is there any utility for these things? And like the utility is the rainbows and unicorns and like they look cool. So what's going to happen if you don't teleburn? They'll stay in your fucking Ethereum wallet, right? And if you do, they'll be in your Bitcoin wallet. Like, someone else asked that, it's like, what happens if I do or don't? I'm like, well, one will be on Bitcoin and one won't. There's not really much to it. Like, if you do it, do it. If you don't, don't. Why would you do it? Because you want to play with some tech that no one else has been able to do yet, and will, you know, there's not really any reason to do it other than just, oh my god, these guys are crazy. Let's have some fun doing this and making the most of this new protocol.
Yeah, I love that, man. Like, you literally like set up a perfect kind of like bell curve scenario for everybody, right? Like, I think like, yeah, you just don't think about it too much, you know. Like, again,
oh yeah, these are JPEGs, unicorn pixel JPEGs with rainbows. Like, come on.
But
take
they're
them too
also
seriously.
not JPEGs because they're not an image. You said it's not an image, so it's
No, they're not
look,
JPEGs.
it's
I'm wrong
yeah.
there, they're not at all.
I'm not trying to overthink it.
not
It's
It's
a
a
HTML. It's a HTML canvas if you want to be specific about it.
That's
There
the way
you
I'm going to
go.
talk about it from here on out.
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically a HTML. That's the important part.
HTML canvas.
Is the teleburn? Anybody use that term before, teleburn? Because I absolutely love it, and I think it's the first time I heard it.
Rodemar, so the creator of Ordinals, he proposed it. I think he was the guy that created the phrase, or he might have got it from somewhere else. But yeah, there was that famous article where that guy burned his Bored Ape. Telly burned his Bored Ape.
And that's where it came out.
I mean,
of.
I'm all up for Telly burning, but Bored Ape probably not. I mean, maybe like something else has a bit less intrinsic value than a Bored Ape would be a good suggestion.
All right.
Like a $14 pixel unicorn.
I want to transition the conversation. We've been talking about MEGAPIXEs here for about 20 to 30 minutes. If you guys can't tell, we're definitely interested in especially in the narrative. Just like it's solid. And honestly, if you're in Ethereum and you're not on Bitcoin Ordinals, I think this is a perfect opportunity to get involved with what's going on over there. And speaking of what's going on over there, Mark, the way I want to kind of transition out is Ordinals have picked up in general. That you see the top collections are seeing a bid. For the most part, are you getting involved at all in the Ordinals market from that perspective, or what else is interesting you over there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not actively buying any NFTs, particularly at the moment. More like, I guess, passive participant in the space. I'm not seeing any collections. Like, I like new stuff more than existing stuff, right? It's just more exciting, I find. And there's nothing at the moment that's jumping out at me and saying, hey, I'm like gagging to buy this thing. I think this is the market right now for people who perhaps didn't own a lot of this stuff because the entry points, I think, across the board, and ETH, Solana, Ordinals, we've been pummeled for a year, right? Like just across the board, all blue chips, all major collections have just been smashed to bits. So if you didn't own some of this stuff before, it's definitely a good opportunity to be getting in now because the prices are close to historical lows across the board in absolutely everything. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. It's just capital that was set aside and people saying, actually, I'm gonna put some of this in some places because I think that the crypto market as a whole is heating up and thus the NFT market. I don't think this is a mad rush of new liquidity. I think it's just park liquidity moving to existing projects.
It's definitely not new liquidity. We got the charts to confirm that one.
I'm interested in this scenario where once you can teleburn, and this is the last piece that I'll talk on because I do want to transition, but that got me thinking about like the Ordinals market hasn't even touched MEGAPIXEs yet when it comes to the potential appetite for people that are sitting on Bitcoin over there. Once they do teleburn, will there be people over there that would just want to buy the MEGAPIXEs there? Because we haven't seen that yet, right? We've only seen the appetite on ETH for this.
Yeah, you have no idea. And we're entering an unknown market. I mean, Ordinals are what, like less than a year old. And the innovation there is parabolic. There's a lot of really smart people, Bitcoin developers who are transitioning over into building layers and protocols and products on top of Ordinals. And I think it's an exciting place to be right now. As is the NFT market in general. I think there are two hot spaces, right? I'm looking at like gaming and Ordinals and seeing what new projects are coming out of the new technology enabled, either by like various L2s in the gaming space or on Ordinals, and I'll be looking at those as mint opportunities.
Love it. All right, so guys, we're going to transition here to the rest of the industry. I will drop that Megapont profile link here for you guys that are interested in checking out that mint. Mark, stay on as long as you'd like here today. We are going to transition to the some other industry talk, though. So appreciate you again, brother. It's always nice to have you on kind of a
man. Thank you. That was heck yeah. 100%.
It's always a pleasure.
Likewise, my friend.
That was the most Biggie Poppins has ever laughed on the show as well.
Oh, dude, man, that was funny.
You were laughing at Biggie. I just had to carry on and wing it. I was like, I don't know.
He's laughing at me. He's laughing at me, like 100%.
No, man, I'm relating to you also, Giff, because I know how fucking complicated this can be for a lot of people, right? Like sometimes you have to do 2, 3, 4 passes at this to kind of like get it to really solidify in your head. And I think in this particular case, though, like I said, Mark, I think you did a fantastic job at like Eli 5ing it for everybody. But, you know, at the same time, confounding everybody with, you know, these wonderful, hilarious, playful unicorns, you know. And so it's rare to find projects that kind of like carry these two things, and to just see our co-host like kind of like trying to like grapple with this live was
I think
funny.
memes. We could transition to meme coin, right? Because I'd love to talk about that before I run away, because I think that's another example of like not taking yourself too seriously, right? And that's probably why. I mean, it's got so much attention that everyone just seems to be talking about this thing.
Yeah,
let's
talk potato farmers. Yeah.
Let's definitely do that, because it's a meme token in the Captainz ecosystem and in Memeland is set to launch at 4 a.m. Eastern, I believe, tonight or this morning, however you want to look at it. And that's going to be one of the bigger liquidity events that we've seen in the NFT industry for a long time. I'm having trouble actually figuring it out. Maybe Azuki, when Azuki was about to launch their elementals. But as far as a fungible token is concerned, and adding that to the ecosystem, huge. I'll bring up some links here. There was some hubbub around getting listed on CoinGecko. They're now the #1 trending on CoinGecko when it comes to the watch list. Just a ton of interest. You've seen it all across your timeline from people that are farming as well, because they've been incentivizing people to share on X. So energy's high. Tokens getting ready to drop here. Mark, I'm interested in your takes, but yeah, the other co-hosts, if you got takes here, but Mark specifically bringing it up. What are you seeing here regarding the meme token?
It's so different to the NFT community, right? And we saw this with ApeCoin as well, which it was a really hard play to fully sort of time run up and the downtrend, and to make the most of that. And I think most of the NFT community are like degen holders for the most part. So maybe we end up being the ones holding the bags of this token when the traders, are farming us. Who knows? Because I think for the most part, the fungible token traders are a lot smarter than the NFT traders. Maybe I'm generalizing there too much. But this token excites me for a few reasons. One of them is it's captured the hearts and minds of everyone, seemingly. Like, I'm in my Telegram groups and my WhatsApp group, everyone's talking about this, and not in like the scammery Ponzi trader way that I see with other tokens as well. Like, these are genuine people thinking of allocating smart amounts of capital there, as opposed to going like all in or trading this with max leverage. These are people saying, is this like a long-term value hold? And I'm seeing like talk of meme being on parity with like ApeCoin, right? Which is, it's like an ecosystem fungible token that is much more than just a token for one project specifically. It has some correlation with like the whole space. So I think it's exciting for that reason.
Yeah, so I think you make an interesting point about crypto like traders, the altcoin traders being maybe smarter than NFT folks. And I think it's interesting because NFT people oftentimes get caught up in the culture and the community aspect, I think, a little bit more, and they aren't as heartless about selling, sometimes they get too sentimental, too precious sometimes. And so, I agree with that take. But what do you think about the sort of Asian component here? Because this is something that, we obviously, we're doing our best to like unpack it and understand and get some kind of insight into everything that's happening there. But we're obviously so removed from everything that's happening over there that, we're very secondhand and on the fringe and don't really have a lot of insight. So what's your take on just the Asian component to everything Memeland and how that's kind of factoring into a lot of this?
Yeah, and I saw it. I can't remember who posted this. Was a great Medium article that was basically comparing it to ApeCoin and saying it's probably going to be like the Asian version of ApeCoin in many ways. Like that cultural split. If you're like from like the Western Bored Ape Yacht Club world, you're going to have ApeCoin. If you're from that part of the world, you're going to have meme token. And the Asian market is really hot for tokens specifically, and there's this big paradigm shift at the moment. ApeFest's in Hong Kong right now as well, right? And there's a lot of events and a lot of conferences that are hitting off over in the Asian sort of demographic. And Azuki is a great example of this as well, right? Which is they caught that demographic and that community and ran with it. And you can see what it's meant for that project. Not many projects could survive the kind of journey that Azuki have been through, I don't think. But their community is just evangelized and mobilized, and they just love that project, the art, the direction, the community, and everything about it. And I think Memeland could be that token as well. It could be, you know, the Asian equivalent of ApeCoin. I mean, we could be categorically wrong, right? And it might go to bloody zero because it's a fungible token, and who knows? And that's why I think these things are so hard to predict, because especially when it's big as this, what a token this big says to me is there are players that have more size than you can even comprehend taking part. And you're just an active participant. Like, there's absolutely nothing Joe Bloggs can do to influence anything that's going on with this token because it's just a behemoth.
First of all, great breakdown. The ApeCoin component is interesting to me because it would behoove ApeCoin to be both West and East, right? Like if they could get both, obviously, you know, tapping into the GDP of each. So I'm never going to be the type of person that is saying, hey, I want this to fail, like by any means. Like I think meme coin and a successful launch of this token is super important for where we are in the industry right now. If it doesn't go well, it's not a death knell by any means, but it would be nice to have a W. But from a perspective of being an ApeCoin holder and getting more involved in that DAO, does it mean it's a negative because we're going to, you know, be replaced over there or be overshadowed? Or does meme coin actually signal like, hey, here's a positive ecosystem that is both NFT and tokens, of which we haven't seen yet? Like ApeCoin is $1.30, $1.40 range. So it's not doing that well. We haven't really seen a token be integrated into an NFT ecosystem successfully.
No comment.
Love the takes.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Biggie Pop is giving that. I'm gonna need you.
Well,
I was out of the pocket on, right? It's like, yeah.
I was just saying part of the strategy for a lot of projects right now is to try and get into the Asian market. And that is why they're doing ApeFest in Hong Kong. You know, that's part of the getting the apes to show up, show what the club's about, have a good time over there. It can be one of the biggest onboarding events, you know, to get more coverage and, you know, earned media sentiment awareness out there. So
Proof
yeah,
of doing that too in Japan. You know,
Yeah.
they're going back again, doing a partnership with Suntory with whiskey and stuff. So looks like it's going to be huge as well. It's a massive market, and I think, yeah, like we said before on the channel, this coming bull run, you will see it prominently displayed everywhere. You will know that something's different, and it'll be that.
Are any of y'all? Yeah. So my question would be to y'all, all of y'all here on stage and in the comments, are any of y'all playing this, farming it, or more specifically, because I haven't been farming, like is there a play here to try and like buy it when it launches? I don't know. Like just curious if y'all are playing this in any sort of way.
I'll probably short it if it runs massively with some perps or something, like just total gamble for coin kind of play. If it, like ApeCoin, when ApeCoin went to $25, it was almost like it felt obvious that shit was going to come down at least a bit, right? It was like, oh, it's run up to a market cap of in the tens of billions. I think it got to at one point, maybe. I think if Memecoin does something similar, which like runs up massive, I'll probably just make a little short or something along those lines.
But did you get in on the pre-sale, or are you just gonna buy some after it launches?
I'll just buy some after it launches. If it launches, I think if this launches flat, I'll jump in. If it launches flat or goes down immediately and doesn't pump, then that to me, it might just be worth like buying a bit and holding it and having some exposure to that, because that's an ecosystem as well that I just don't have any exposure to. It's never really struck a nerve with me in many ways. It's never one that's jumped out to me and thought, yeah, it's never done it for me. And like fungible tokens are a nice way to get some exposure to an ecosystem that's otherwise very expensive, right? Yeah. It's an expensive play. I can just buy $100 of this meme token and see what happens.
I would just caution whenever staking is involved, you know, buying a token outright and not having some staking feature to offset that, because
not adding more risk to it.
Yeah. I did show off on Blur that Captainz, the major OG NFT collection, which I believe, and Choino, tell me if I'm wrong, because I know you've been farming, and it would be awesome to get like the briefest TLDR if possible, because none of us, I believe, are staking here. But I'm assuming, you know, you're staking NFTs, you're earning meme, things like this. But you can see Captainz is up 43% here off 2,000 ETH volume here in the last 7 days. So you could see what a fungible token does to an NFT ecosystem as well. All right.
Nothing makes it more clear to me that that collection is not about the art at all. There's This is just a purely DeFi play. There's nothing interesting about
Look at the
other
look
than
at
DeFi.
The
That is all it
PFPs.
is.
All you gotta do is look at the PFPs.
Well, initially they were trying to present it like, oh, we've got this cool build your own PFP. Like, look, they hyped up the art and the reveal for so fucking long, dude. Like, I don't know if you remember, they did not reveal for like months and months and months. And then it's like it revealed and we were like, what the fuck is this? It's like, oh, well, now it's just very clear. They don't give a shit about the art. The art really doesn't matter. That's not the point.
Okay. All right. I'm going to transition us here into another ecosystem token. And I have to make sure I don't get emotional about this one because I've been in Star Atlas for a long time. I've sunk more than my fair share of capital into Star Atlas here in a moment. Mark, before we do get that, just say bye to the peeps. I know you got to run, but thank you again for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure as always. Happy to come back whenever you want me.
Thanks, brother.
Awesome. Enjoy the rest of the show, everyone.
Thank you, brother. Take care. Have a great night.
All right. I'm going to bring this up. This is going under the radar. I'm going to transition us to a trailer real quick. And then I'm going to transition us to the tokens that have gone up 150% in the last 14 days, which is interesting to see. But this trailer is going to be fantastic. This is gameplay trailer, folks. So you see a post from Star Atlas here saying play to own is coming. Unreal Engine 5 Star Atlas 2.2 update via Breakpoint, third-person shooters, combat racing up to 100 players, on-chain ship configuration, new characters. I mean, this is fantastic.
Oh, wow.
The same, but it's the same brand we chasing. Same bad news. I feel so alive all the time.
That's a
All right.
dope trailer, man.
What did I just watch?
I saw several. It seemed like several different game modes in there. Like they got FPS. Seems like they got a racing component. Like then there's like the open world component of like flying around and bombing bases or some shit. So I don't know. It seems like there's several different game modes in there. The character customization of the ships and the actual characters itself is phenomenal. I mean, that's super high quality, crazy high quality.
I am okay. Brief backstory here. First of all, look at the 30-day chart here for Star Atlas. I mean, up
nice.
Both tokens in their ecosystem, Polis and Atlas, up 100 to 200%. I called this out recently because I talked with Kagion. We are early investors in Star Atlas, and so we've been involved in the ecosystem since the beginning. And the investor cliffs are done. Like the distribution to investors done in December, which has been very negative. It's very much an ape coin situation, right? Or you're as much as you can do, you're getting millions out the door that are probably going to be done. That's done in December of 2023. I'm blown away at this. I mean, they had all this FUD with FTX. They had millions and millions of dollars in the FTX accounts that they still don't have. And they had to lay off a bunch of people. And it was dire straits for one of the most hyped projects of that last cycle, gaming wise. This trailer is wow. Like they are doing a bunch of shit to Biggie's point, man. Wow, I'm still blown away.
Yeah, man, it's good to see. But yeah, again, I'm not a participant in it, but that looks phenomenal. That's like Huxley level kind of. I don't know. I dig those type of worlds. So that's awesome, man. And Choina, remind me never to play against you in any fucking game whatsoever. What the fuck? This guy's just like constantly crafting and farming and all this stuff, dude. Like, I don't know.
Dude, I mean, Star Fox was awesome, if y'all remember. And anytime that if you can get a great sort of like starship battle game where you're flying around and like shooting stuff, it's usually a lot of fun. And it's not just the quality here. It's like, it looks like there might actually be a fun, cool game. And that's really what we need, right? We need games that are
those racers are awesome.
Yeah, we need games that are actually sticky, that do include the really cool collectible customization ownership elements, but the game has to be fucking cool. It has to be fun. And this, there's a lot of elements to this that look pretty fucking cool.
I am just like kind of speechless right now. It's been a tough road for Star Atlas. This is a huge update.
Y'all, let's see if we can get Q to cry a few tears up here. Y'all, let's see if we can get a tear or two out of.
Well, what we need to get is Mike Wagner on the show. Like, Wagner's been. I mean, these guys have been fucking through it. After the FTX situation, I thought they were dead. Like, they released 3/4 of their staff. It was like they were giving updates like, we're gonna be okay, but
So, wow. Okay, first of all, you did say, that you own. So full disclosure, Q has a bag. We always want to be clear about that, right? But you, so you said in December, basically all the allocations or like all the distribution is done. Is that what you're saying? So yeah. December, it's done. And that's good, right? Because at that point, there's no more dilution that happens.
No more dumping.
Right? No more dumping, no more dilution. At least in theory, right? They're all the tokens are out. They're in there. They're in the ecosystem. People are going to do what they do. But a lot of times, whenever you have those token cliffs or released tokens, you do tend to see some dumps, right? And so the thing is, after December, the token should find more equilibrium, more stability, hopefully, and then from there, who knows where it goes, right? But
it's up to the project to perform and the players and everybody else, right?
So yeah, I'll give you a look for those people who are less into looking at tokenomics and white papers. You can see that this is October 2023, where my cursor is right now. You really can't see it. It's like, let's see if I can get a better look at this, because otherwise it's going to be completely worthless. So where my cursor is right here, folks, that's October 2023. You can see it flatlines. Do you see that? You see the flat line everywhere? Those are investor tokens. Because they're flatlining, that means no more are going out. You can see over the past 2 years, up, like stairs up. That just means more tokens, more tokens, more tokens. Now you see a complete flat line. That means they're not going out.
Okay, but there's still going to be a little bit. What's the yellow line? So there's still going to be some
community rewards.
Yeah, so there'll be a little bit more introduced through community rewards, but no big unlocks or anything like that. Okay, so yeah, so I guess what's your hope then for this? And I mean, what's the takeaway other than that? It looks like a cool game. Like, is there a gameplay event like we've been seeing with Runiverse and some of these others, Sugartown? What are they promoting other than just, hey, look how cool it looks?
Yeah, I do agree with Choina. The showroom has been out for a little while. I think up to 6 months to maybe even a year. I don't know how long it's been out. But the showroom basically lets you purchase or the ships that you have. You can go into this massive kind of metaverse style showroom, and you can hop on. You can like look at the details. Very intricate. But really, I haven't seen the UE5 racing game be that populated until this video. Like. So Choina is definitely getting me up to speed on that. Yeah, I think the bigger story is, look, the tokens, which was a ridiculous process. I'm not even going to go into that. But the token distribution's ending, and GIF, they're on Solana. And Solana is having this rebirth of its own, right? Where you thought maybe the chain was going to continue to, kind of bleed off
die
into
out.
Non-existence. You see a Solana rebirth. So now you have a couple different factors here. What we need to do is get Mike on the podcast and the shows again. it would be great to have him kind of break down what they've got going on. But yeah, Choin is saying the FTX debacle. They made some tough choices after the FTX debacle, which, in my humble opinion, was a great move for longevity.
Right on.
Woo.
Well, looks dope, man. And yeah, I don't know how much more time you want to spend on it, but looks cool.
Yeah, I guess I did spend a while there. Biggie, did you have any last thoughts here?
No, man. I want to play the game. Let me know.
All right. I
borrow
did
your
have,
pod or whatever that is.
I had some updates on. I mean, we could talk a little bit of ApeFest. There have been a lot of different updates from the Bored Ape.
I have a weird thing that I shared called BurnItDAO.
Yeah, and I shared a link there too. You guys might want to check out.
Hey, real quick, we do have a Bape merch drop here in the next 24 hours. There's also some Hong Kong merch that is going to be live in the next 24 hours for Bored Ape Yacht Club. But you can see BMW is partnering as this is from the main profile, right? So they're saying, keep your eyes peeled at ApeFest. BMW unveils the future with their unique interactive experience, fostering co-creation as the guiding force. So we see that.
I'm so fucking bummed that I'm not there. This is literally going to be an epic fucking event. Like, there's so many cool partners and drops and things happening out there. It's in a crazy new setting. They've never done anything like this. I really think that they're putting so much effort into making this a once in a lifetime memorable fucking event, dude. And yeah, I'm just so pumped.
Like, can you imagine the breakfasts and the lunches?
Oh my gosh, the brunches.
I don't know. I just think about the food.
The food.
There have been a lot of posts. Last thing I'll say here in the Bored Ape ecosystem is ApeCoin proposals went through, so we did cut special counsel's salary. Bored Ape Gazette did get funded, and there was another proposal that went through that's funded as well, which basically allows gaming developers to introduce ApeCoin via an API very much easier. So instead of like having to do it the work themselves, they could just very easily integrate ApeCoin into that ecosystem. Special counsel elections are happening as well. That's starting literally either today or tomorrow. So some things going on. Glad to be getting involved a little bit more.
Congrats to Bored Ape Gazette, friend of the show.
And Heavy Metal Forge is ending today. I'm not even going to go into that. But all right, maybe tomorrow on the rehash, or maybe Monday we can get a recap on Heavy Metal. All right, I've got 2 links here that you guys want to touch on. Gifted dropped it in first, so let's touch on BurnItDAO.
Yeah, this is a strange, weird thing that came up in a conversation we were having yesterday. Be careful. We don't know who's behind it, but we actually did like a live contract audit. We had Evil Plan. Yeah, you can switch off the sound there if you want. But Evil Plan, who's like a super smart dev in the space, kind of did like a live dive-in audit of the contract. And it's basically like a Squid Games Survivor game show that's all on chain, where one person walks away with $1.8 million at the end of this. And it like his assessment was that the contract is legit. It's verified. Doesn't seem like there's any weird functions so that somebody can like rug it or anything. It seems pretty straightforward. I'm not a dev, so I haven't verified that myself. Just a very smart person did while we were in the room talking about it. And not financial advice. This is just a really strange, interesting experiment, some kind of like on-chain game show that just popped up on the radar. Nice. It's very much gambling, but it's like an elimination thing, right? Where it's like you have NFTs that are somehow like burning each other, and then whoever's left at the end of the game wins this massive pot.
Interesting. I like how they're actually displaying the narrative as well. You can see it's
there's an FAQ somewhere on the website too that explains it. But I don't know. Just curious what y'all think of that. It's a weird thing.
It's a very simple game that plays on a very simple human psychology perspective. And I think you don't have to get complicated with tokenomics. Like Rec League, here's what you should do. Have a fucking tournament or have a one-on-one situation where I'm betting ApeCoin against someone else. Whoever wins gets the ApeCoin. That's a freaking use case that DGens love. We love putting up some money to potentially win more money. Like if you make that simple, it doesn't have to be hard. So I like this a lot, Gift. It's interesting. Is there what is the entry NFT? Is there?
Yeah, I didn't even get that far into it myself of like, what do I actually have to pay to get into it? I'm sure it's you put in some small amount, and maybe you can put in more, to get more more chances. How can I enter? There you go. Minting an NFT. So yeah, entry cost. What is that? 0.07, 0.08. There you go.
All right.
And so you can get multiple entries, it looks like.
Okay, Biggie, you're the last topic here today. We didn't get to a lot. I feel like we went deeper instead of wide today. So we definitely want to make sure we cover this, though. What's up?
Yeah, so this is pretty on topic right now regarding permanence, and it's a cool little project by Nahiko and FingerprintDAO. I just minted out a little while ago, but maybe you can go in and put offers if it interests you. It's really cool. Like if you zoom in on the bill, so it's a bunch of bills with like people in the space. You got Brian Armstrong, Warren Buffett. You got I've seen
is
Elon
Warren
Musk.
Buffett in the space?
No, he's not in the space, but obviously fiat regarding. But just keep zooming in, Q. What you'll notice is that these bills are made up of a bunch of different CCO projects, Moonbirds, Skulls. You have it like all. Yeah, exactly. You keep zooming in, right? You got grifters and everything, and so the whole thing is made out of CCO, different projects, and they're obviously hosted in different types of platforms, really much in line with what we were talking about right now, right? So some of them are on IPFS, others are on Arweave, others are 100% on chain, and hence the name of the project. It's called bit rot, which is like the degradation of pixels over time, right? And so if you'd imagine like a bill kind of getting worn out with use over time, this is kind of like a similar project, right? As time progresses, that motherfucker. I bet you that one's gonna go for like a ton. But basically, it's all about seeing as time passes by, seeing which pixels remain, right? Some of them are also on like Web3 traditional cloud services, and so very much in line with what we've been talking in the Web3 show this morning, and now in this show right now, which is the issue of permanence and storing the metadata in different protocols or in different ways. And, it's led by FingerprintDAO, and Nahiko is also a really well-known artist. I'm tracking it. I think like, I don't know what they minted out at, but they're like going like per 0.15 right now. I think they should come down a little long, hopefully. I find it pretty cool, but something to keep on your radar. I found very interesting. I really wanted to bring it up in the Web3 show, but was not possible this morning. We'll talk. We should definitely talk more about it next week, though, because that's a really interesting use case for CCO NFTs. That I don't think I've seen anybody really pull together a whole bunch of CCO NFTs and do something quite like this. So that's very interesting. A couple of very interesting things there.
All right, we had a couple like last updates that I wanted to get to because again, today's the last episode. Is there a Proof Collective update, Biggie? Did we get 5 artists being named on that update? And then I did want to share this NBA piece before we roll out of here.
Oh man, I think you're referring to the new season. What are they calling it? I forget what it's called, but yeah. So I mean, the best way to think about it, from what I understand, is like Proof is kind of like following in Marfa's footsteps in this regard. So the exhibition series, correct? And so we just had the previous one, which was the Neutron Star one, like transcription received and all that stuff. And so this is the new exhibition series, and basically you'll be able, like, if you're a collector in Proof and you meet certain standards, hold certain tokens or whatever, you'll be able to collect some of these posters that are going to be coming out. And anyways, in this particular case, they're naming this season's exhibition artist, which I still haven't been able to pour over thoroughly, but it's pretty exciting stuff. Yeah, Proof is making moves, man, as usual, but people sleeping, so that's cool.
Well, and you've also been doing your show. which is great.
Yeah. That's been fun, man. I saw you guys turn up like towards the end, the tail end
Tried to
part. I
get in.
appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's fun. I'll still need to get a couple more tips on that stuff, but it's good. It's good. It's a different experience than being a guest for sure. Makes you appreciate the hosting portion of it, which is much appreciated, sirs.
Of course, man. Well, yeah, I can't wait to tune into more. Hopefully we can get some. I don't know if you guys are locked in at that 1 p.m. time, but it's tough to get in, you know.
I think right now we're open to everything. We're like going with this month and just doing it on Wednesdays and see what the turnout is like. And I'm still like figuring out some of the structure that I want to follow with, and trying to figure out the audio, the effects, and all that stuff. It's fun. Man. It's fun, but it's also a little bit like I wish I had that already, like on the first go. But I don't know. Going back on it, it'll be fun to like visit those like initial shows and see how it's changed. I'm sure you do that every once in a while. Q.
Never.
Yes.
And you're like, damn.
That first episode of NFT Live is amazing. Actually, it's actually a time capsule. All right,
badge of honor, man.
A lot has changed since 2021. That's very fitting that we're transitioning here. Really quick, I just dropped this entire thread into the chat there for y'all to take a look at. Really insightful thread on using data to just kind of move in the space. And again, it's changed from this time. There's a lot of different things that you need to do today, but you can see Fluid, an interview with MEV Collector, who turned 11 ETH into 862 ETH, basically using Nansen. That was his primary use case. He found the right kind of filters to filter by and basically did it. And he's also talking
that's his
about
strength too, right?
Yeah, and you know what, Biggie, he talked a little bit about using both tools and his kind of gut feeling, right? Because that's a lot of people move in the space using just, hey, I know the space and I have the right feeling. But this guy's kind of laying out here's how I did it with data.
I'm glad. I can't wait to read it. I've not seen this, but something to be said about that second portion of it, right? Like you definitely play to your strengths, whether you're an analytical mind or or community oriented, whatever, and pick your tools. But once you get a handle of all these other things, there is that unknown factor, right? That nuance, which we call gut feeling or what have you, that plays a big factor, I think, and people sometimes downplay or don't want to acknowledge, but it is a thing I've come to realize. And if you stick around long enough, you start recognizing it, right?
And he's giving an ode to that, right? Because Fluid's asking, how much was your trading driven by data versus gut feeling? He said, I'm mostly data driven, especially for quick flips early on, but market narratives are now taking up more space in my decision making, especially for exits. So I think it's a really insightful thread. It goes on and on. So definitely some good talking points.
Yeah, and if you guys want to like read up on like more what some would call narrative investing, there's a phenomenal investor, like traditional investor. He does not fuck with the NFT space, but you learn a lot about tracking narratives and investing in that style of investing. His name is Cuppy Cooperman. Fantastic dude, like Stanley Druckenmiller level like brain, and like he's also really good at just like simplifying concepts, right? And like why he takes certain trades and things that he's looking at. And so if you're like interested in like macro level analysis, like Raul Pal and all that, he's a fantastic follow. Cuppy Cooperman.
All right, we'll leave that link in the description. I'll try to find that and post it for Biggie's Alpha. Look, another Alpha piece for Biggie. We didn't get to touch on today, icons, which we can hit on Monday. But damn, dude, nice hit on that. Look, we haven't actually deemed this any like specific terminology yet of when we actually get some backing from the major brand behind an NFT offshoot. But Sorare and their partnership with NBA, so SorareNBA essentially is getting some love on the major profile here from the National Basketball Association. So yeah, full trailer. We can kind of look at it, but give me your take here.
It's really big and important for these types of alignments to happen in order for the legitimacy of this. This is the weird sort of dichotomy of where we're currently at, which is that like people who are decentralization, Web3, self-sovereignty, blockchain maxis, they tend to want to believe that we can just exist without needing any of the big brands and we should be able to do everything on our own and et cetera. But if you actually want this stuff to be super valuable and viable and become, you know, the ownership layer of the future of the internet, like we do need these people to adopt the technology and go with decentralized, you know, systems. And so this stuff is really big when it happens, in my opinion, and important. So, you know, I still don't, because my hands aren't dirty enough into the sports collectibles ecosystem yet. It's still kind of hard for me to get a grasp on, like, is Sorare going to be the spot? Is that the place where sports digital collectibles really take on and become, you know, viable long term? Or is there going to be NBA Top Shot and Dapper or one of these other platforms? It does seem right now like Sorare is hitting the right notes and making the right moves. So if I was going to bet and start collecting sports collectibles, Sorare is the one that seems like a leader in my mind and seems to be getting it the best so far. But I don't know.
I mean, especially in the Premier League and in international soccer, that seems to be taking off, although I know there was some regulation that came through on some of that in France. So, yeah, I think sports collectibles, easy narrative to lean into as well when trying to, like, explain this stuff to people, or maybe not explain it, just like digital cards. All right, guys, this has been a fantastic week. I don't think we can understate how successful the last month has been. So October was a fantastic month for the network and individuals, you know, that are up here. I mean, we certainly had a fun time in the industry, and you know, it just seems like we're feeling and feeding off this momentum. So big shout outs to you guys that have been supporting us all the way through. Hopefully November we can do the same, man. I'm super stoked on all the energy, even in just the broader NFT space. But yeah, I love you guys. Our vibe, our tribe. Biggie, let's go with you first, then Gifted, send us out.
Our vibe, our tribe. Have a phenomenal weekend. Remember to touch grass, be with your friends and your family, put down the phone every once in a while. I know it's hard. I'm going to try to, but I'll see you next week. Love you, fam. Always.
Love that, man. Yeah, disconnect to reconnect. Sometimes that's what you need. I'll throw this here at the end. I'm going to put it in the chat. I did share some of the first work in progress test renders. They're low key, they're low res, but it gives you a sense of some of the different traits and what some of the art is looking like in my upcoming project. And I would love and appreciate any engagement on this, any shares. Let your friends know. Again, the allow list gets you 2 free mints, and I'm going to be closing that soon. So that's it. Get on the allow list. Appreciate any friends supporting it. And yeah, excited to share more with y'all soon. Our vibe, our tribe.